Hello, welcome back to the Root Network. My name is Archie Collins, the senior pastor here at World Changers Church Houston, and I'm so glad that you're with us on today as we talk about being fit to fight the various matters of life. The thing we want to talk about today is something that happens to anyone who is often starting their fitness journey. Now, understand this could be starting your fitness journey physically or mentally. Often you feel like you're the only one. You're the only one, and often you are the only one who is getting things started. And when you often are the first or the only one, there's feelings of aloneness that can come with that. And if you're not careful, those feelings of aloneness can lead you to thoughts of hopelessness or thoughts of helplessness that can actually get you off the very course that you so rightfully started in the first place. Here's the simple thing I want you to remember when it comes to setting out to do things to make yourself better physically or mentally or even spiritually, and you're the first or the only who are getting started, that you're never alone. You're never alone, and that God is always there with you. And remember that because He's with you, you have peace. You have nothing missing, lacking, or broken in any area. Now, I don't care if this is on your job or in your house or whatever like that. Know that you're not the only one, because as God is with you, He will protect you, He will provide for you, and He will make sure you have everything you need to find success. There's a story in the Bible that makes me think about this, and it's the story about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who, while I understand that they were three individuals, but they, out of an entire city, they were the only individuals who stood for God and wouldn't bow down to the direction of man. And even though they found themselves in a bad situation, if you know the story, they weren't alone. God showed up. In Daniel chapter 3, verse 19, it says, Nebuchadnezzar was so furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that his face became distorted with rage. He commanded that the furnace be heated 7 times hotter than usual. It is so important to understand that when you are standing up for what's right, when you're setting out to be impactful, revolutionary, or to bring about change, not everybody's going to understand it, and not everybody's going to want you to do it. There'll be people who actually physically set themselves against what it is you're trying to do, but you have to remain vigilant in what God has called you to. Verse 20 says, Then he ordered some of his strongest men of his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the blazing furnace. Verse 21 says, So they tied them up and threw them into the furnace, fully dressed in their pants, turbans, robes, and other garments. And because the king in his anger had demanded such a hot fire in the furnace, the flames actually killed the soldiers as they threw the 3 men in. Verse 23, So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, securely tied, fell into the roaring flames. And that's where many of us find ourselves. We find ourselves in situations where we feel like I'm doing the right thing, but it looks like I'm alone. First thing I want you to pause and think about is this set of scriptures. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego made it into the fire. Understand that the fire was so damaging, the fire was so destructive that it had killed the very soldiers that threw them in. But the first thing that I recognize when reading this is they made it in the fire. They should have been burned up on the way into the fire. So that's a praise report that you're just even in the situation that you're in. That should be an indicator that, man, God's up to something. Because this has consumed many people. Most people don't even get as far as I am in this situation, but I made it into this. And I want to tell you today that God's promise is if you're into a situation and you made it in, He'll help you make it out. Thank you so much for watching the Root Network with us on today. We're so glad to be able to share how to be fruitful from the root to the fruit in every area of your life. Make sure that you like this, that you share this, that you subscribe to this, so that you can continue to help us spread this gospel of grace and this ability to be fruitful all over the world. Again, remember, you're victorious, and we thank God for you. We'll see you next time on the Root Network.